This is Get Off My Lawn Live. Join us as we talk trending topics, world and local issues, and the conversations that we need to talk about as people. Get Off My Lawn Live is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Hey, good evening, everybody. It's your boy, Eric Buckner. Those of you who know me, you know me as E-Bug, Big E, the Nighthawk, all that good stuff. Nonetheless, I am he, and we are here, and this show is called Get Off My Lawn Live. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, whether you're catching this live or later on in one of the rebroadcasts. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are looking forward to talking to you as always, as we do here on Sundays. Hopefully everything's going well in your world and you're having a good weekend. I would appreciate very much if you have any comments or things you'd like to talk about as we talk about these things. And please add your comments to the commentary in the comment section there, either there on YouTube or on Facebook. We are definitely looking forward to getting your feedback as always. In the meanwhile, I am saying, hey, feeling good. Not a bad weekend for myself. I am looking forward to discussing, as I said, with you guys. And pretty much when we get back, we are going to talk the usual trending topics. We're also going to discuss today the latest on the Oxford High School shooting and what's going on in that case. And we will definitely have a discussion about the 5 things I think we all should have learned during COVID. That are the main topics. And then we got a couple other small things we're going to add to the mix as well. So again, looking forward to having that discussion, and we will do just that after we give you a few words from some of my other members here in the Nighthawk Network. Got to give them their acknowledgments and let you guys know what they got going on as well. So let's do that, and when we come back, we will get into it, y'all. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. It's your boy E-Buck. Let's go.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea-sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Nikki.
Let's talk. Let's Nikki. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Nikki.
Let's talk.
Nikki.
If it wasn't for your grace and mercy surrounding me, protecting me, where would I be? Ooh. If it wasn't for your grace and mercy surrounding me, protecting me, where would I be? If it wasn't for your grace and mercy surrounding me, protecting me, where would I be? Oh yeah. Your grace and your mercy keeps me when I don't obey. Your grace and your mercy renew for me every day. Your grace and your mercy is why I am here today. Your grace and your mercy, take it away. tremble. Yeah, my guiding light trials. I do not need to fight.
Hey everybody, we are back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. E-Buck in the building, ready to talk to you guys this evening. We are going to get straight into it. Let's go. Trending topics of the week. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, on my brain at least, is the fact that right now there's a part of the country, or a part of the world, I should say, that is basically not in a good place. Of course, I'm speaking of the Ukraine and what's going on there right now. I am very, very disturbed by that whole situation. I really hate that at this point in time in the world, we have things like this going on. I mean, of course, there's little civil wars that go on throughout the world all the time, but this one, it really don't seem to make much sense. It appears that basically Russia has said, look, we're not going to do this. Yeah, we are. We've known for months now that they plan on invading the Ukraine for some point, basically just to get Ukraine back in their possession as part of their collective. And now that that's happening, it's just very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this place. It's crazy to me. It really is. Here we are on the verge of getting out of COVID and coming back to some sense of normal, and then we add this to the mix. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why Putin sees the need to do this. It appears even in his own country, they are protesting the fact that he's doing this. So it really makes no sense to me why this has to happen. There are thousands of people losing their lives basically because you want what you want. I know there's other things in the midst of this that we, as the general population, probably don't know. But all in all, I just feel bad for the people that are monkey in the middle of this. The people of the Ukraine that's now fleeing the country or choosing to stay and fight and deal with whatever circumstances that come along with that. Of course, several countries have basically said, you know what? We asked you not to do this. Now you're going to pay the consequences. So they're basically doing everything beyond the realm of extra military to show Russia that this is not good and we don't appreciate it. And it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you in your pockets. It's going to cost your country overall, even though in return it's costing us in terms of some of the energy and gas that we get from that part of the world. So I'm sure you've noticed in the last week or so, gas has gone up a significant amount, unfortunately. But I really hope that this ends sooner than later without too much extra bloodshed. I think that's probably wishful thinking on my part, but I really hope that we get to a point soon where this stops and we work out what we need to work out after the fact. Because this is just sad. It's sad that there are people dying basically just for the sake of dying, it seems. So there's that going on in the world, unfortunately. Another thing that's going on, people, is March the 1st. March the 1st will pretty much mark when most of the country has determined that there will no longer be any mask mandates. Pretty much all the states have said to some degree they are cutting it down significantly March 1st. The numbers have definitely gone down over the last few weeks. And I think as a nation, we have determined it's time to try it out, see what goes on next between the people who are vaccinated and the people who have had Omicron or any of the other COVIDs. There should be some sense of at least short-term herd immunity. At least that's the thought process behind this. And hopefully that when we do this, that we don't see some type of spike or, Lord forbid, get some other type of variant that takes over. And here we are again a couple months from now. Because, you know, a couple years into it, a lot of us, we just burnt out. We're ready to move on and move forward. Like it or not, hopefully there's not a lot more people dying due to COVID outside of what will eventually become the normal amount of people, as crazy as it is to say that. But when all is said and done, we really hope that if this is how we're going to play it out, that it plays out well for most of us, if not mostly all of us, you know? So those are the two trending topics I want to talk about per se. Another thing of interest in regards to the news, there are basically changes going on. As you start to see that the world is trying to come back to some conclusion of normalcy, a lot of things are changing within the news cycles. A lot of the shows, like the talk shows and whatnot, are changing formats, changing out people. You see Wendy Williams will not be back, according to recent reports. They're changing out her show. A lot of the shows like Blackish and This Is Us, this is their final season. A lot of shows have committed to having next year be their final season. So I think we are going to see a lot of change just all together as this moves forward. This and among other things, and some of the stuff I want to talk about later on in the show, when I talk about the 5 things I think COVID should have taught us. But what I want to get into when we get back is the latest situation in regards to the Oxford High School case. This is just very disturbing, and we really need to kind of dive into this because we need to deal with this particular case in a way to where it deters anything like this ever happening again in any school district anywhere in the United States, or hell, in the world for that matter. So when we get back, we definitely going to get into it. This again is Get Off My Lawn Live. I am your host, eBuck. And after this commercial, we're going to talk about Oxford High School and the one I called the Little Demon and the PAPs, you know, the punk A parents, you know. You know what it is. So, okay, y'all, we will be back. Hold on. There's that one commercial I want to get off here. Where him at? Shout out to our guy, David Ford. Keep scrapping, buddy. Keep grinding. Here we go.
Black on, get into it. Black on, look at that David Ford right there. That's it. Black on, he don't know Tom. Look at that David Ford. That's his name. He don't know Tom. Yeah.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
What's going on, everybody? E-Buck is back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live, and we are now going to talk about the latest in the Oxford High School shooting and the case that is taking place. Basically, they're still doing a lot of pre-trial things in regards to this, but as we start to get more of the details in regards to both the shooter himself and the parents who basically failed him, and the school district that somewhat failed him as well, to be honest. It's just more and more disturbing. This past week, they basically determined whether or not, well, they've yet to make a decision actually, but they're determining whether or not they are going to keep him in the Oakley County prison where he presently resides, or if they want to move him to a juvenile facility. The argument is basically that they are concerned about his mental health in regards to being there in isolation. Generally, this will tell the story, and then we'll kind of get into it from there. Check this video out, and then we'll talk about it. All right. Where is it? Hold on, people. Allow me to track that down right quick. Here we go. Check it out.
The prosecution wants Ethan Crumbley to stay where he is, and that's in jail. They say the teen is just fascinated with violence and seeing others suffer. Placing him with other at-risk juveniles the same age of his alleged victims is just putting more young people possibly in danger.
He outlined a plan to stalk, rape, torture, and ultimately kill a female classmate. He expressed delight in torturing a family of baby birds. And he wrote about the joy he received in listening to them squeal as he killed them.
Oakland County prosecutors pointing to disturbing journal entries, videos, and texts showing why accused Oxford shooter Ethan Crumbley needs to stay locked up in the jail rather than be moved to a juvenile facility.
In his journal, he described the type of gun he needed, who his first victim would be, and ultimately he expressed that he would surrender so that he could witness the pain and suffering that he caused.
A mindset, they say, of a menace to other juveniles who would not be safe, housed with the 15-year-old in Children's Village. Right now, Crumbley spends most of his time in a cement cell with a few items from the commissary and a glass door so he can be monitored 24/7.
Staff a deputy directly in front of that inmate to ensure that the inmate's not hurting themselves.
This extreme isolation is actually not beneficial whatsoever and actually harms Mr. Crumbley.
While the prosecution painted an image of a narcissistic, troubled teen who wanted to be known for the premeditated Oxford school shooting.
His request that how do I get my fan mail, my hate mail, and my commissary? He knows that he's going to have people who admire him and people who hate him alike, and he wants that notoriety.
Crumbley's attorneys painted a much different picture of a teen in mental health crisis whose cries for help to parents and friends were ignored time after time.
Mr. Crumbley around this time is texting his friend, Brady, "I need help. I was thinking of calling 911 so I could go to the hospital, but then my parents would be really pissed."
Right now, Crumbley's only contact is with his caseworker twice a week, psychiatrist, lawyers, and a tablet he gets for a few hours a day. But Heather Calcaterra, manager at Children's Village, isn't convinced he needs more human contact, especially with other juveniles at Children's Village. She says staffing and mental health resources are a big concern.
This was a devastating situation, and we don't know what the defendant's presence on our campus, in the classrooms, on the units, what that presence, how that may trigger or impact other young people. I would also be concerned about his safety. I do not know if he would be a target. I do not know if his presence in a juvenile facility would cause him to experience any type of trauma.
Now, the judge listened to about 3 hours of arguments, and with the evidence, he'll look over that, take it all under advisement, and plans to make a decision in writing, we're told, early next week.
So there you have it. Okay, now let's break this down for a minute. First of all, the argument of the defense attorneys is that part of what this person needs in order to help him is more human contact, particularly with people of his own age. Now, let's see. When that transpired around about November, and he had 1,800 of his peers there, He liked it so much he decided to get rid of several of them. Road to Stardom checking in. What's going on, Road? Thank you, as always, for coming through. So yeah, he liked his peers so much, he wanted to get rid of them. And now suddenly, after doing this crime and a couple months to reflect, you feel like it's in his better interest to put him around more people like that. Understand, I'll imagine that most of the people in the Oxford High School paid this guy little mind. He appeared to be one of those guys that have very few friends and just did not get along well with others to a degree, which is why he went through what he went through in order to commit this crime. Now, that being said, you now want to place him in a juvenile facility with other troubled teens who basically don't get along with others either. I'm pretty sure it will be known immediately who this guy is when he gets there. You don't think that's going to cause some type of problem when you put this young man in with some of these other teens and they basically get to a point where, like, okay, so you like to shoot people. You want to bully people with guns. You don't have a gun now. Let's see how tough you are now. You know kids will have that thought process, okay? You know it's going to be somebody there to try him. You see the young man, he don't look as tough as some of the things he has done, okay? And they say he has issues and what have you. Is that the type of person you want to put in a juvenile facility with other troubled folks? It sounds like to me you basically throwing a firecracker in a gasoline barrel if you do that. I don't understand why anybody in their right mind would consider putting this kid anywhere beyond where he is right now, doing what he's been doing right now. He needs 24/7 surveillance. And as they were saying in the discussion, there's actually a whole 3-hour thing that you go check out on YouTube where the whole time he was being tried was there. And you can look at the whole thing for yourself. There's no way that I could recommend, and I'm not a professional, mind you, but I would definitely not recommend him being in any type of facility where he could be around anybody that's either going to get harmed by him or cause harm to him. He definitely don't want to go through the juvenile system. I don't think that he would be able to survive. It's either one way or the other. Either he would not be able to survive, or some other people will be victimized. Understand? They talk about in this video that well, I think they actually talk about it in the next video we're gonna show you. He had a 21-page journal that they found in the backpack where he had the gun that fateful day, and every page of that journal outlines some of the things he wanted to do to torture, hurt, and shoot students. He went as far to say, well, actually, I'm gonna let them tell that part of the story, but amazingly enough, it's like, do you honestly think that this person should be anywhere around anybody based on what he has done at all? I mean, I understand he's just 15 years old and technically he's just a kid, but he put himself in an adult situation and he needs to have the understanding that you have to suffer the consequences of your actions. And right now, those consequences are for you to be in a cell by yourself with very few people to talk to and nobody your age at all. I mean, yeah, you saying it may benefit him, but would it benefit the other people around him, particularly in a juvenile situation where you're trying to rehabilitate those kids? You don't want to bring that type of individual in the midst of them. For all we know, he may be a lot smarter than you're giving him credit for. He might come into the facility and get to having people join his little thought process, and then they get to plotting on people in the facility. Do you understand what type of problem we will have if you send him to that juvenile facility and something else jumps off, that more murders or mayhem happens because of him on your watch? Do you understand what type of problem that's going to cause, not only in the Oxford community, but in us in general? Bottom line is anybody that puts him there and allows him to just do what he do, it is over. What's good, Ro? You like my new memes? You and these memes, you and these memes. We're going to have to talk about that, bro. You crazy, man. You crazy. But anyway, when all is said and done, I can't think of anything in anybody's right mind that would justify moving that kid anywhere but from that jail right now to a federal prison. Because Lord knows he's going to have a hard enough time when that happens. If you're concerned about him now, I'm sure you're going to be really concerned when he is convicted and sent to Jackson State Prison or somewhere around about. He probably won't even go to Jackson. Let's be honest. There's that little thing called privilege that will probably allow him to be in a lesser jail where he will be able to be monitored a little better. Because I can only imagine putting him in Jackson State Prison in general population as a 15-year-old. I don't see that going well for him at all. And then, of course, there's the whole plea of insanity. You are looking to do an insanity plea on this kid. So why in the blue smurf would you put him in a juvenile facility when you're basically telling us he's not fit to be in society in his present state of mind? Please explain that to me. Please make that make sense. Because it really doesn't. Not at all. Again, if you guys have any comments on this, feel free to put them out there. We definitely would like to hear from you. But anyway, that's his part of the story for the moment. Then, of course, a couple days later, they had the PAPs, as I call them, the punk A parents, come to trial to determine whether they will stand for trial for these crimes. And this video will talk about that. Hold on, good people. Check this out.
Isn't something to celebrate because they had to sit and listen to this, you know, those awful details. And I know they thought the same thing we have thought since the beginning, which is it could have so easily been prevented. These cases don't happen that often because these facts don't happen that often. They are egregious.
And so now let's get right to Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack. She's live with more on what happened in court. And Jess, we just heard from the prosecutor, so much disturbing evidence presented today.
Unbelievable, Roop. This was day 2 and the final day of testimony here in district court. Shortly after 4 o'clock, the district court judge made the decision that there is enough evidence to send both James and Jennifer Crumbly to trial, 4 charges of manslaughter each. Now, it was really tough to see what evidence was presented in court today, especially for some folks in the courtroom, parents of some of the victims of the Oxford High School shooting. Haunting video shown in court Thursday of Ethan Crumbly at a shooting range with his mother, Jennifer, practicing with the same gun used in the Oxford High School shooting. And a first look inside of Ethan Crumbly's bedroom.
And what do we see on the wall here?
Those are silhouettes.
2 human silhouettes for target practice on his wall, bullets on a nightstand, a Nazi collector's coin, and a half-gone bottle of whiskey by his bedside. Then Ethan's journal found in the bathroom at the school after the shooting.
Out of those 21 pages, how many discussed the Oxford High School shooting or his plan to shoot up Oxford High School?
Every single page.
Every single page.
The Crumblys both crying in court Thursday as entries from their son's journal were read.
The shooting is tomorrow, comma, I have access to the gun and ammo. It says the first victim has to be pretty girl with a future so she can suffer like me.
Oxford High School counselor Sean Hopkins taking the stand, testifying he warned the Crumblys hours before the shooting Ethan was a threat to himself and needed mental health help immediately. Jennifer said she would get him help, but could not that day because she had to get back to work.
In any of your meetings, when you call parents because you have that kind of concern, have you ever had anybody say no?
I have never had parents arrive to the school and not take their student home.
If you tell them they need to.
Correct.
Crumbley's defense showed there was no text message evidence on the Crumbley's phones that their son was homicidal using this mountain of digital evidence. But prosecutors responded using testimony of conversations Ethan had with a friend about his frequent hallucinations and a mental breakdown he'd had.
He says, I actually asked my dad to take to the doctor yesterday, but he just gave me some pills and told me to quote unquote suck it up.
Yes, sir.
Then he wrote, like it's at the point that I'm asking to go to the doctor. You remember seeing that?
Yes, sir.
And then seeing, my mom laughed when I told her.
Yes, sir.
You saw in the story there that one of the school counselors took this stand today. Now, we asked Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald if she thought that any school officials should be criminally charged. She told us no, she does not see anything right now that shows that they should be criminally charged, but of course, several lawsuits against school officials.
Okay. A lot to unpack right there. Let's see what buddy he was saying. That's the first thing that was on my mind. Where was his parents in all of this? His parents definitely were sad role models and deserve to be put behind bars as well. Okay, Hugh, let's go here. Here's the situation, people. The reason what makes this case unique from some of the others that have happened over the years is because, one, usually, unfortunately, when these cases have happened over the last decade or so, the victims and the shooters are no longer here to tell the story. This is one of the rare instances that the person who did the shooting actually was captured, and we have some idea of what led to the thought process. There are several written things in regards to his thoughts, not only in this journal that he was carrying around in his book bag, but in other journals that he kept at home. The young man actually wrote in a journal that he really liked killing baby birds and liked the sound that they made as they were being killed. This is a person you want walking around in any other place that's not called prison, including a juvenile facility? I think not. Note some of the things that they found in his room, the targets, basically the targets that they used in the target practice. Okay, I understand that if this basically that's what it was, they were just learning how to shoot the guns and whatnot. But then you find the bullets laying around. That's not very good, is it? When you're supposed to be teaching this kid guns and gun safety, where did all that happen? Good job, PAP. The part that really pissed me off with that particular video is when the parents get to crying. You want to cry now? Now you crying after what you did? Really? Now you feel bad after all this didn't happen? Wasn't no tears none of these other times in court, but now that the truth coming out, oh, now you got tears in your eyes. Poor baby. Poor us. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? And then the whole Nazi swastika thing. Again, I point out that several of the people that did not come to school that fateful day, after he put the cryptic message on his Instagram that see you tomorrow, Oxford High, were people of color, okay? Not being reported in this scenario, but from my understanding, that was the case. I do not know all of the people who were shot. We know about the ones who were killed, unfortunately, but I do not know about the ones who were shot. From my understanding, none of them were people of color. But what some people have said is that, yeah, he definitely seemed to have an issue with people that didn't look like him. We'll put it that way. Some of that was discussed in some of those messages that he sent his friend. I think the friend they speak of is a guy who went to the school but moved away. And this was his one friend that he was keeping contact with. But no, the other part that really bothered me about that was when he talks about, yeah, I really think I need to go to the hospital, but I know if I do that, my parents will be pissed. I think your parents or at least your thought process that they'll be pissed because you've discussed this with them before. And sure enough, they talk about a little bit later. He said he discussed with his dad he needs to go to the hospital. His dad, in turn, gives him some pills and says, suck it up. Really? That was your parenting move? To give him some pills and suck it up? And again, I really would like to know what pills those were, by the way. Was they simply Tylenols or Advils? Or did they get the boy some Xanax or something? Who knows? I imagine that might come out when the trial happens. But yeah, these people won't win nobody's parent of the year. That is clear. Remember, they bought the boy the gun, took him to the gun range the same day. And then when the time came and said, yeah, I think the kid took the gun out of the lockbox, you knew good and doggone well that gun wasn't locked up nowhere in nobody's lockbox. And you had several other guns in the house as well. So I'm pretty sure, I mean, you seen how comfortable he seemed to be shooting that gun at the gun range. It was not his first rodeo. For anybody who's done the gun range before, you know that gun got a nice little kick to it. And early on, you kind of, jump a little bit, but as you get used to it, you get used to it. He seemed quite used to it to me. I didn't see him having no issue with shooting a gun. It wasn't his first rodeo at all, okay? But yeah, the reason why this becomes probably the most important case of any case this year is because not only do we now establish, okay, if you do this crime, this is the time you get for the shooter himself. But now, if you have some reason as to why you were not culpable, you will pay the price as well. So I need all three of them to go to jail, parents and child alike, so that this will deter the next person from saying, yeah, even if I feel this way, I don't want to do this because I don't want to get my mom and dad in trouble. Hopefully that thought comes to their mind. Rhoda is saying he had mental issues and the parents knew about it and didn't do anything about it and probably thought it would go away. And if they really thought that, Rhoda, they is dumber than they look, okay? PAPs to the fullest, if that was the thought process. Now understand, and other pre-trials, they talked to a couple of the people that worked with the mother, and clearly her son was an issue. She had discussed with some of her co-workers that she felt like he was going through some things, that he was depressed and whatnot. I don't know if she basically asked him for advice, but clearly it was something they talked about. And as I go through this thing, it clearly appears to me, at least, that the mother, more so than the father, had a huge role in all of this. The father seems like he was basically just going along to get along, that he was not the one wearing the pants in the family, that it was the wife that pretty much was coordinating everything in regards to what happened beforehand and afterwards. But here's the thing that really, really, really got me. And this is why I say the school is somewhat culpable as well. When they asked him based on what his findings were, understanding that they had already talked to them the previous day about some behavior that was disturbing, when he basically said that they need him to go home and not come back until the mental evaluation was done, if that was your synopsis, if that's what you came to the conclusion of, why on earth would you allow them to send that child back to class? You should have insisted beyond a shadow of a doubt that that kid has to go home. Now the mom is saying she couldn't take him home. Was the dad there that day? And if so, what was the dad? I mean, bottom line is, if the child was sick, would you have took him home? Let's say the kid had COVID and had to go home. You was just gonna leave him there? Let's just say that he was a victim of bullying and got beat up and whatnot. Now he's hurt, needs hospitalization. You just gonna leave him there? What if basically somebody threatened him and they basically said it's best to send both of them home? The other child already at home, you gonna leave him there? I mean, it just makes little to no sense that is the conclusion that you would come to as a parent, And it makes even less sense that as a counselor, in your expert opinion, that was what it was, and you chose to allow him to go back to class. If nothing else, if you felt like you had no choice but to keep him because the parents wouldn't take him home, you should at least not have him go back to the class. You should have had him be somewhere where he could be observed and talked to more, whatever the case may be. And you could have found somebody that was a counselor and brought them in, perhaps, if you really was concerned about this young man to that degree. And the fact that some of the other administrators are claiming dummy and saying, I didn't know all this, it already sounds like they putting their ducks in a row to throw certain people on their staff under the bus when it comes to this. Because remember, there are several lawsuits that have been filed, and you best believe some of them lawsuits are going to bear fruit. Some of them folks are going to get paid, okay? And in the end, the school district is paying that money. So in the end, you know what that means. We are paying that money. We are paying for these parents and these administrators' mistakes. And that's just unacceptable to me. That is why there is no way on God's green earth that any of these three individuals should be seeing the light of day for the rest of their natural life, as far as I'm concerned. And of course, part of the problem is there are many people that probably feel that way, as I do. So if we're doing a jury trial and you're basically trying to find 12 to 16 people, that's going to be a hard do, particularly in that particular community. That's going to be really hard to do. But hopefully everybody involved at the moment is doing the right things in regards to this case and ensuring that when all is said and done, they do not let this kid get off with the mentally insane situation, and that these parents are also held accountable so that in the future, when people see this and see what was the consequences, they basically know, no, this is probably not worth doing. Okay. And then I'm really, really bothered by the fact that this kid had the nerve to say, yeah, where is my fan mail? Where is my hate letters? I want to see them. And notice that they're telling this story in court, the kid doesn't flinch, okay? Again, you can watch the whole scenario. I think I will actually try to post that for you guys in the network. So if you actually want to check out the whole 3 hours, it's rather lengthy. You know, some of that legal stuff, it gets kind of bogged down. But if you want to see the whole thing, I'll at least post that so you can make that decision for yourself. But when all is said and done, this is just crazy. It truly, truly is. And I really need justice to be served in this case. Speaking of cases, definitely want to be somewhat happy about what happened in Minnesota last week, where all three of the other officers that were involved in the George Floyd killing were found guilty of the charges that were put upon them. Considering what the actual person himself got, somewhere in the realm of 20 plus years, I don't see them getting nearly that amount. It could be argued whether some of them should or not. I mean, basically, the person that has stood there, I imagine he doesn't get even half of that. And the people that were actually physically involved probably get half of that. So we're probably looking at 2 years for the don't come this way guy, and probably 5 to 10 years for the other guy. So in the end, it's something, but it's not enough. I'm still upset about the whole Deontay Wright thing and the fact that that's kind of glazed over, that it wasn't made as big a deal as it should have been. I mean, in the end, justice is still not serving the way it should. But it is what it is, I suppose. It is what it is. Okay, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna acknowledge a couple people and basically talk about my new podcast that I am going to start in the next 24 to 48 hours and what it's about and what I would like to happen in regards to it. So that being said, give me a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to have a discussion and finish up the show, y'all. This is Get Off My Lawn Live. E-Buck in the building. And we will be back after some more words from our peeps in the Nighthawk Network.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Nighthawk Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love. Hi, this is your boy Eric Buckner, and right now you're looking at my show, Get Off My Lawn Live, here on The views and opinions expressed here on Get Off My Lawn Live are those of the host or his guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its associates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. What's going on, y'all? E-Buck is back. Get Off My Lawn Live. In effect, we are basically going to talk a couple quick things before we finish up today. A little early show. It happens sometimes here. Not mad at it. Again, if you have any concerns, anything you want to talk about, if you basically are a person who is looking to be on the show, have some things you want to talk about, if you want to promote your business or anything of that nature, that is how you can get in touch with me. That is the Nighthawk Network Gmail account. That is nighthnetwork313@gmail.com. Again, it is nighthnetwork313@gmail.com. Now, again, before we head out, a couple people and things I want to acknowledge. First of all, as you know, tomorrow is the last day of February, which of course, unfortunately, marks the last day of Black History Month. Now, one of the arguments that a couple people have made, including one Kanye West, is that we focus too much on the past history in regards to Black History Month. We should be talking about more of the present and the future of people in regards to what they're doing in Black history. I'm not completely disagreeing with that. Kanye kind of got a whole different slant on it, but I say, yeah, we do need to talk more about what's currently going on because every day we are still making Black history, including what hopefully will be a future Black history moment between us and this woman here, Miss Ketanji Jackson, who has been nominated to be the next Supreme Court justice by President Biden. Basically, one, keeping his campaign promise to nominate a Black woman to the head court, but also picking a very, very, very qualified individual. She has done a variety of things in regards to law, including being a practicing lawyer, having private practice, being a public defender. She has worked on the Court of Appeals, where she presently works actually in DC, and has been a judge for several years as well. She is a Harvard graduate as well as a Harvard law grad. So when it comes to her qualifications, I don't think they could have found much better than that in regards to her. She basically has gone through the whole vetting process previously when they appointed her to the Court of Appeals in DC, where basically the Senate had to approve that in regards to her. Of course, they say now they will dig deeper in terms of her, and we'll talk more about that because I'm going to actually have that discussion on my new podcast. The name of that new podcast, which should hopefully drop within the next 24 to 48 hours, rest quotient aside, is what I do with the people. Oh, actually didn't even type it in. So I have to tell you the name. My bad, y'all. The name of the podcast will be The Problem I Have with Blah, Blah, Blah. That will be the name of the podcast. It is actually going to be an audio podcast. You'll be able to find it where audio podcasts are found, which is Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It will basically post on all those things. And hopefully, like I said, sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours, you will have the first couple episodes of that. We'll probably drop one of those maybe every 5 to 10 days, depending on what's going on. It is going to be what I'm calling a mini podcast. For those of you who don't like to take the time to watch some of our shows because you feel like they are too elongated. I understand that some of y'all are busy people and you just don't have the patience with it, but also some of you guys like to listen to the podcast when you're doing other things. So I definitely want to go back to the audio format so you guys can have something to listen to as you do your cleaning or you're working out or whatever the case may be. And that's why we're going that route again. As you remember, previously, I had to Get Off My Lawn Reflections podcast, as you see, available on 8 platforms. But now we are going to change the name of that podcast to the one I'm describing, The Problem I Have with. So basically, wherever you found that one, whether it be Anchor or, like I said, Apple, what have you, you'll be able to find the new podcast there in its place. So please check it out. And by all means, there are a voicemail option when you go to Apple or Spotify, I believe. Feel free to utilize that and let us know your opinions, or at least put something in the comments so I know how you felt, what more things you would like for me to talk about. Please share it with your friends and family as well. Would appreciate that. You can also find, of course, all my parts of the Nighthawk Network on Nighthawk Network Detroit on YouTube, such as the Game Time Audible, my sports podcast I do with Hugh Lee. Shout out to you, Hugh. Appreciate your comments this evening. I also want to give a special shout out to a person that has definitely supported us throughout the years that we have been doing these podcasts, not only mine, but some of the other people's in the network as well. That would be one, Mrs. Simmons, also known to many of you as the one and only Road to Stardom. You can definitely find her on IG. You will find her on IG. That'll be the symbol that you will see in regards to her willings and dealings there on IG. Please, by all means, check her out. She has been a great supporter of the Nighthawk Network, and we in turn want to support her as well. We, in fact, will probably talk to her soon. If you're still here, Ro, I would like to actually add you to be in the network as well so that we all can work together in regards to what we got going. Rhoda is definitely looking to do some great things in the community and has done so in the past. She has merchandise that she also has. You definitely will find all of that when you go to Road to Stardom on Instagram. And please support her as you would support us. And hopefully soon she will too be part of this Nighthawk Network. Long overdue, I might add, Rose. Long overdue. So we will definitely have that discussion this week. And there are other things we got going, of course. We getting more our technical stuff back in order here. But we basically need to find the time to get things done. We're learning new processes and other things going on. It's 2, not 2. My bad, Ro. My bad. My bad. We got you. We'll get you together. We will absolutely get it together, my friend. We appreciate that. So actually, it's Road to Stardom, as in TWO. Okay. Because you see here, it says 2, but it's actually 2. When you look on Instagram, it does actually say TWO. So we will have all that situated sooner than later. But yes, my friends, we about to head on out. Short show tonight. We said what we need to say about what we need to say about. Next week, what we'll be talking about? Well, hopefully, we will have a guest next week. That is the plan as it stands at the moment. Who that guest will be, we'll have to see. We got a couple people we need to reconfirm with. Hopefully, I will get in touch with them sometime next day or two. And next week, we will talk to them about what they got going on, as well as what's going on here in the world. So until then, I will catch you guys, of course, again on Wednesday when we do Game Time Audible, me and Hugh Lee. But you can also catch some of my other people here in the Nighthawk Network. You, of course, got Monumental Moments in God's Word that now airs on Tuesdays, around about 8 o'clock. Of course, we have Dish and Tea tonight at 9 p.m. for Say What I Said Sundays with Big Meech, Aunt Nikki, and Big Red. Check that out. You got Stan Mason's Behind the Blue Curtain. I posted that one, I believe, yesterday, but haven't had a chance to check it out, so I'm going to do that sometime soon. Of course, we got Pastor Sean Love Presents. I think he should have a new episode for us shortly. I will, of course, post it when that happens. And also, we have the show No Weapon Formed Against Us on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to Mrs. Sullivan, well, Evangelist Sullivan, I should say, and Dr. Facey for allowing me to be a guest on that show last Monday, talking about Single Life in 2022. There will be a part 2 to that discussion this Monday, so please check it out and check out the past episode. You'll find that on Dr. Marla Facey's YouTube page if you want to check out some of my responses and some of the other great young women that were on there as well. Very much enjoyed talking to them. But nonetheless, that is pretty much it. We about to wrap it on up, people. Again, make sure you check out Big Meech and them tonight for Say What I Said Sunday. I might see if I can pop on there for a few and discuss with the folks if they don't mind. You know, usually he is inviting everybody. So hopefully I am invited as well. Big Meech. Don't forget about your boy. But until then, y'all, we will be back next week with more trending topics and more guests and more things we need to talk about as people. Until then, this is your boy E Beezy, and this was Get Off My Lawn Live. Thank you for those of you who participated in the show. Thank you for those of you who, again, will watch it later. Feel free to put your commentary after the fact. We will check it out. We do look at these things after the fact, so feel free to comment on anything that was said beyond the realm of that. Until then, y'all, we about to be out. 3, 2, 1. Fingers peace.